The Resident Evil remakes are huge. After having put hundreds of hours into these games and getting basically every platinum trophy, I thought it was time to put on my critical hat and brutally rank these games. I'm also gonna rank the original games to see how well the remakes can stack up against them. Be sure to subscribe if you're new around here and consider becoming a channel member or join my Patreon to help support the channel. Will my rankings match up with yours, or will my opinions once again shock the community? Well, I guess you're just gonna have to find out.
So, are you guys like boyfriend and girlfriend?
Alright, so first up we have the Resident Evil 2 remake. I think 90% of the characters were done so much justice. I think they were better in every way possible. There is a lot of dialogue that I wish stayed in the remake. Like, for example, in the original RE2, one of the most iconic lines that live rent-free in my head.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Hold your fire! I'm a human!
And on top of that, a lack of a true B scenario in this game is still a huge disappointment. The locations in this game were amazing. The RPD completely overhauled, but still stayed very faithful to the original. You're running around the RPD, you got Mr. X creeping around the corner, chasing after you. And the RE2 remake also has a ton of content. You have the A scenario, you have the B scenario, you have the fourth survivor mode, you have the tofu mode, you have the free DLC. I mean, there is so much content in this game, and that doesn't even include all of the unlockables that you can get. So just like in my original tier list video, I'm gonna have to put the RE2 remake in S+ tier. It is an absolute masterpiece. Not perfect, but it's still a really good game.
Oh, you must be the new guy, Leon.
So before we get to the most hated Resident Evil remake, let's talk about the original RE2. Even if you're a modern RE fan and you don't like this style of gameplay, there is no doubt that the original RE2 holds up really well. Between the music, the characters, the pacing, the bosses, the weapons, the unlockables, the secret game modes, I mean, I could go down a whole list. Anybody to this day who has not played the original RE2, I am telling you right now, you are missing out. I mean, is it a perfect game? Yeah. The intro to this game is extremely iconic. The way that the game starts in the city is also iconic, and it really does set the tone for the rest of the game. RE2 original will always have a special place in my heart. So if it's not obvious already, I'm gonna have to put the original RE2 in D tier. It is literally the worst game ever made. You guys really thought I actually liked this game? I'm just kidding. It's an S+ game. Come on, guys. This is original RE2 we're talking about.
It's all right. You go on ahead. I'm not gonna die on you. Leave you in a cold, cruel, Carlos-less world.
Okay.
Oh, the Resident Evil 3 remake. I feel like this game got way too much hate for absolutely no reason. Now, where I think this game starts to fall short is in its atmosphere. How do you take your main antagonist of your video game and somehow make him the worst character in that game? There's only one good thing about this Nemesis, and that's his design, and that's it. Nemesis isn't scary. He only chases you throughout the city during the beginning of the game, and that's it. Every other encounter with him after that is completely scripted, and they're all boss fights. The side characters had more screen time for the most part, but that's pretty much where the good things end, because this game also lacked in DLC. I mean, we literally got no DLC for this game, no extra game modes, no nothing. We did get some new costumes and unlockables, but they were very bare bones. I mean, Capcom seriously could have done a lot better. This is a pretty bad remake. It does some things better, but for the most part, it just completely butchers a lot of what made the original so special. However, that does not mean it is a bad game. But because I'm ranking this game on a remake scale, I'm gonna have to put the RE3 remake in C tier. It is just not a good remake.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
So before we get to the RE4 remake, which I'm sure a lot of you are waiting for, let's very quickly talk about Resident Evil 3, the original. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis was my first ever Resident Evil game that I ever laid my hands on. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, in my opinion, is a very good classic RE game. Jill Valentine is a very likable character. Carlos is also a very likable character. Nemesis looks cool, he's brutal, he's fast, he relentlessly pursues you all throughout the game, so you never feel like you ever can catch a break. This game has a certain type of atmosphere that I feel like no other Resident Evil game has ever been able to replicate to this day. RE3 Nemesis has one of the best save themes out of the entire series. And the unlockables in this game were just amazing. But my opinions on this game have changed. I'm gonna have to put it in S tier. After playing this game again recently, I'm telling you, it is worth another playthrough.
Try using knives next time. Better for close encounters.
All right, the one you have all been waiting for, the Resident Evil 4 remake. Drop a like on this video if the RE4 remake is your favorite Resident Evil remake. This is one of the best video game remakes ever made, and the amount of controversy and negativity that this game brought is still to this day mind-blowing. The locations in this game are expansive, and there's so much to explore. There's so many collectibles and unlockables and challenges and items. I mean, I could make a 10-hour-long video just talking about this game. And then, of course, the music is just chef's kiss. I mean, how many times do I gotta say that, man? This game is just perfect. 10 out of 10 material. Now, is it entirely perfect, like truly perfect? No. Like, for example, I thought the dog maze wasn't as good as it was in the original. And then on top of that, a few months ago, we got the Separate Ways DLC, which just completely added to the package. Need I say more? I mean, come on. This game in specific set the bar for video game remakes, and that is no debate. So, despite me loving this game, it's gonna have to go in D tier, man. This game is just terrible. I'm just kidding, guys. It's going in S tier. Come on. Are you serious? Come on, man.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
All right, next up, we got the original Resident Evil 4. I feel like I'm gonna sound like a broken record because everything I have to say about this game, I also said about the RE4 remake, so we're gonna make it quick. As much as I love the RE4 remake, I still prefer the original Resident Evil 4. This is the first ever Resident Evil game that I ever completed. I still have my original copy on the PS2. I am never getting rid of that. This game is a masterpiece. I know a lot of people don't like it now because of the controls and the graphics, but I'm telling you, if you haven't played it yet, you are truly missing out. And RE4 is not just good because, oh, nostalgia, or oh, it's popular to love this game, but no, it is genuinely a really good game, and the game design in this game is just perfect. The level design, the way enemies are implemented, the boss fights, all of the different weapons in the game, the sound effects, the sound design, the music, the save theme. I mean, do I really gotta keep going? Come on, man. The original RE4, you already know that's going in S tier. We're putting it right here, right next to the RE4 remake. Resident Evil. Capcom, that's my audition for the next Resident Evil game. If you guys want to hire me. All right, all jokes aside, we got to talk about the original Resident Evil remake. And I know a lot of people are turned off by this game because the controls and the camera angles and yada yada. But I'm telling you right now, if you have the patience, you need to give this game a chance. It is truly no different than the RE2 remake. It is a slow-paced survival horror game where resource management is very important. It is faithful to the original Resident Evil 1 in so many ways because in a lot of ways, it is different, right? The game artistically looks different. The game sounds different. It feels different. If you're a beginner, you're probably gonna die a lot. If you struggle with figuring out puzzles, you're probably gonna be stumped for a little bit. But that's what makes this game so rewarding. I feel like a lot of modern RE games, you're not really punished for failing a puzzle or whatever. I don't want to spoil too much for those that haven't played it yet. I know the game's been out for like 20 20 years or whatever. As much as I love the RE4 remake and the RE2 remake, there is no denying that the RE1 remake is much more faithful than those games are. So I'm gonna have to put the Resident Evil 1 remake straight up here, probably I'd say in between the RE2 remake and the original RE2. Despite what people say about 4 and 2, the RE1 remake, in my opinion, is the most faithful Resident Evil remake. So yeah, RE1 remake, 10 out of 10.
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Alrighty, so last but not least, the original Resident Evil 1. The original Resident Evil is so special in so many different ways. It has so much charm and so much love and passion and commitment just put into it. Shinji Mikami is a mastermind, and the fact that this game even exists is just insane. And fun fact, the guy on the cover of the game, that's not even Chris Redfield. But I mean, what is there to really say about this game? I mean, I'm not saying it's a worse version of the RE1 remake, but in a way it's basically that. I will say it is definitely one of the easiest Resident Evil games to get lost in. When you're finding so many keys and puzzle items, sometimes it can be easy to get lost in the mansion, but that's what makes the game so rewarding, is that when you figure out where to put that puzzle piece or where to take that key and unlock a specific door. This game kicked off this entire franchise, and I really do have to take a moment to appreciate this game for what it is. And it also has one of the most iconic lines out of the entire series. So if I had to rank the original game, I'm gonna have to probably put it in A tier. Now that I'm looking at this list, I'm like, wow, like it basically just seems like I'm just saying everything's good. But no, I mean, truly, all of these games up here are just amazing and perfect. But those are my official rankings of every Resident Evil remake. Be sure to check out my other tier list video here, leave a like for more, and comment your rankings down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.